Mr. President, this message is not spoken in anger, but in conscience. It comes not from hatred, but from hope. Power gives you the ability to shape laws, but morality gives you the responsibility to shape justice. History is watching, even when the cameras are not. Long after speeches fade and headlines disappear, the choices made in moments like these will remain written in the lives of millions. A nation is not measured by the strength of its weapons or the height of its buildings. It is measured by how it treats the poor, the forgotten, the voiceless, and the broken. When children go to bed hungry in the richest land on earth, something is deeply wrong. When workers labor full, time yet remain trapped in poverty, prosperity becomes a lie told to comfort the powerful. Wealth that never reaches the streets below is not success, it is separation. Great nations are not built by ignoring suffering, but by confronting it. You cannot call a country free while so many are chained by debt, discrimination, and despair. You cannot speak of opportunity while entire communities are locked out of it. The measure of leadership is not how well the privileged are protected, but how boldly the vulnerable are defended. Leadership is not about preserving comfort for a few while asking patience from the many. True leadership is the courage to disturb an unjust peace. Silence in the face of inequality is not neutrality, it is permission. Laws can be written to protect privilege, or they can be written to protect people. The choice always belongs to those in power, and with that choice comes accountability that no office can escape. Do not ask the oppressed to wait. Waiting has been their inheritance for generations. They were told to wait for freedom, wait for equality, wait for opportunity, wait for justice. And every time they waited, the promise was postponed. But justice delayed is not neutral. It is injustice extended. Every day of delay writes another chapter of suffering into the lives of ordinary people who are simply asking to be seen as human. Time does not heal injustice. Only action does. The wounds of inequality grow deeper when ignored. Patience becomes an insult when it is demanded only from those who suffer, never from those who benefit. A nation that truly believes in fairness does not ask the wounded to be quiet. It asks the powerful to be responsible. A nation that spends more on weapons than on schools is not secure, it is afraid. A government that invests more in punishment than in opportunity is not strong, it is broken. You cannot bomb poverty out of existence. You cannot jail inequality into silence. You cannot legislate dignity away, and you cannot ignore injustice and still claim moral leadership on the world stage. Violence does not begin with weapons. It begins with neglect. It begins when neighborhoods are abandoned, when education is underfunded, when hope is treated as a luxury instead of a right. Peace is not merely the absence of war. It is the presence of justice. Without fairness, stability is an illusion waiting to collapse. The greatest threat to this nation is not external enemies, but internal indifference. When compassion is treated as weakness and greed is rewarded as success, the soul of the country begins to rot. When profit is valued more than people and convenience more than conscience, power loses its purpose. Power without empathy becomes tyranny, even when it hides behind flags and speeches. Authority without humility becomes oppression, even when it is wrapped in legal language. The strongest governments are not those that dominate, but those that serve. The most respected leaders are not those who silence critics, but those who listen to pain. Mr. President, remember this: progress never comes from silence. Every right enjoyed today was once called dangerous radical, or impossible. Those who asked for dignity were told they were asking for too much. Those who marched were told to slow down. Those who spoke were told to be patient. Yet history honors those who spoke, not those who stayed comfortable. Comfort has never moved the world forward. Courage has. Moral courage does not ask what is popular, it asks what is right. It does not calculate political cost before calculating human cost. It understands that leadership is not about winning the next election, but about protecting the next generation. You have been entrusted with authority, but authority without service is empty. The people do not need more promises written for applause. They need action rooted in moral courage. They need policies that lift the poor instead of blaming them, protect workers instead of exploiting them, heal divisions instead of deepening them, and place human dignity above political convenience. Justice is not charity. Equality is not a favor. Fairness is not a threat. These are not radical ideas. They are the foundation of any society that wishes to survive with its conscience intact. A nation cannot claim greatness while leaving millions behind and calling it acceptable loss. Do not be remembered as a caretaker of the status quo. The status quo has failed too many for too long. Be remembered as someone who chose justice over popularity, truth over comfort, and humanity over power. Be remembered as someone who understood that leadership is temporary, but impact is permanent. The future will not ask how long you served, how many speeches you gave, or how loudly you defended yourself. It will ask what you stood for when it mattered most. It will ask whether you protected the powerful or lifted the powerless. It will ask whether you chose courage when fear was easier. The time is always right to do what is right. Not tomorrow, not after the next election, not when it becomes convenient. Now. And the cost of doing nothing will always be greater than the courage required to act.